know I am a landlord. I am no longer an Airbnb host. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Jada and I create content related to travel. I do a bit of real estate. I share life hacks or any life tips that I may have. So I do have a full-blown series on buying a house in Jamaica. I also have a current running series on operating an Airbnb in Kingston, Jamaica, which we will dive into in this episode. And I also create content as an advocate for organ donation. I also do vlogs here and there. So if any of the above strikes you, or if you want to learn about business, weight gain, stuff like that, be sure to subscribe to our little family. We are growing. We're at 1,500 and I am so grateful for all of our current subscribers. Honestly, I can't thank you guys enough. We're literally this close to getting monetized. I'd really appreciate if you guys could watch the entire video and share it if you like it. As I stated, yes, in this episode of the Airbnb series, we will be focusing on my experience as a host post COVID-19 or during COVID-19. So just to bring it back, a few weeks ago I did post a video sharing my earnings on my Airbnb in Kingston, Jamaica. And obviously enough money I make from the Airbnb in Kingston, so I wanted to show you guys the flip side of that as to how much money we also didn't make within that same year, because I'm really passionate and I am really strong-willed on trying to be as transparent as possible by showing you guys the good and the bad side. I find that in the industry as real estate, you don't really hear about the hiccups so much, so I really wanted to just be a platform or be a space where we can all share what we know, our tips and tricks, and also just as much as we share the good stuff, we're also willing to share the bad stuff that we can all learn from, because obviously we don't have a manual to life. So if you know something that me don't know, share it with me now. If me don't know something what you don't know, make a share with you. Cool? So that's the intro done. Let's jump right into the videos. As you guys can see, I don't have a laptop. I don't have any notes. It's literally right all from my head. And that's because our earnings have been so low since the pandemic has started. So just to take it a few months back, since 2020, so in February we were fairly booked. That was right before the pandemic hit Jamaica. March 2020, that's when we started to see the drastic decline, and I believe it was the end of March that the government of Jamaica actually made the national curfew and lockdown, and they also closed the airports and any terminals that were coming into Jamaica. So that meant that obviously the overseas tourism that we normally rely on was cut down, dead, dusted. Alright, before I even go into how I did what I did, let's just say it here. Let me just put it on the record. During the pandemic, the Airbnb no make no money, as in $0 and 0 cents. I'm going to try to put up a screenshot of one of the months to show you guys that I literally had no reservations. So obviously all of the spending did have to come from my pocket, and I'm going to explain how I kind of worked around that and how it's good to have a plan B or a contingency plan for when stuff like this happen, and more importantly the importance of having a emergency fund, because when shit hits the fan, babe, you get what you don't get. Alright, so like I said, March was when the pandemic really started hit Jamaica and the government locked off everything. April, obviously, me being, the quick person that I am, I'm trying to get around this whole pandemic thing. So at first, I was a bit hesitant to accepting any overseas clients, because we did have a few requests to book. Who are they? I think they're medical personnel or nurses. I'm sorry about the broken nails. I know it's literally making me cringe right now, but I'm going to the nail shop tomorrow. Tomorrow now, past, I'm gonna see the nail lady. But anyways, as I was saying, yeah. So in April, we were getting requests from medical personnel, nurses from overseas that wanted a place to stay while they were on, I guess their shift, or whether they came to help out Jamaicans or whatever the case is. So we were getting a lot of requests from those agencies. However, I politely declined them because that early in the pandemic, I didn't feel secure with having someone that could be a potential carrier, especially that most of them were coming from the USA. And as we know, they have one of the highest death and case rates for COVID-19. So I lost out on money in that aspect, but I did try to make up for this loss by advertising the Airbnb to a local market. Not that I didn't do this before, but I just really tried to push the Airbnb more to try to catch up for those lost. What the local audience know for the Airbnb, to be completely honest and to be completely frank with you guys, I didn't feel safe having them in the apartment, so I also started to decline those. I mean, initially we accepted, but as time progressed, with Jamaicans, I noticed that not a lot of them have debit or credit cards, so they weren't able to actually do the booking on the Airbnb platform. So even though I'm going to be showing you guys the actual reservations, we did accept a few local residents during the time. However, because I didn't have the debit or the credit card, we have to accept cash in hand, which in the long run, I had to stop and I had to put an end to because I just didn't feel safe. With Airbnb, how it works is if someone damages anything in your property or the property, you can actually get compensation, and you may be able to charge that person's bank account because obviously they are registered on your Airbnb account, and you'll be able to see their personal information, some of their personal information, and Airbnb also intervenes whenever you try to make a claim on whatever I guess has broken or damaged. So with the fact that we didn't have any actual tracking system or any third party to come in the event that something was broken in the apartment, I just felt uneasy having to mentally bear that financial cost all on my own. It was a lot, and especially for the fact that I was also facing the pandemic for the first time. So from a business perspective, even though I was taking the risk initially of having the local guests, in the long term, and also from a personal perspective, I didn't feel safe. It was just quite traumatic seeing the big difference from earning 300,000+ Jamaican dollars to literally $0.00. And this is where I go into my little rant of telling you guys how important it is. And this knowledge I have now, I only learned this probably a year ago when I met with a financial advisor, and the person literally sat me down and explained everything thoroughly as to how important it was to have an emergency fund. So after that meeting over a year ago, I literally started to buckle down my finances and I tried to create a little emergency funds, and thankfully because of that, that's possibly one of the only reasons that I'm God, obviously the nominal for my God. That and God is one of the only reasons why I still have the property at the moment, because my tenant settings is rough and the money not coming from nowhere. Plus, sis was even live. Sis went to Antigua in March, so I literally came back to an empty account. But the emergency fund was an extra cushion that carried me through those dark days and dark nights. But that aside, what I would also say is, in the spirit of being transparent to you guys, I also guys know that because of the uncertainty of COVID-19 and the hospitality restrictions that are now imposed on Airbnb hosts and everything else that comes with it, the whole shebang, I opted to no longer operate as an Airbnb host. For the time being, it's not indefinite, but just until I feel safe to reopen the Airbnb to people, and also once I feel more financially stable to have that as a risk over my head and all the responsibility that it comes with, we will remain closed. However, I have since transitioned into a landlord. I don't know what the lady version of landlord is. Landress? Well, a landlord basically. So now I am a landlord. I'm no longer an Airbnb host, and that whole transition needs a video for itself, because I had to go back to, not physically go back to school, but I had to go back to my drawing board and redo the whole financial plan that I had for the Airbnb. I had to redo everything, just everything. I can't even think to explain everything in this video right now, because obviously I just want to focus the video on the monetary gains and losses of the Airbnb. However, I will make a separate video on my experience so far as a landlord in Kingston, Jamaica. Like I said, guys, obviously nobody could have predicted the pandemic coming. Nobody never knows that this would have happened. I didn't know, I couldn't foresee it. Nobody but God, but it's here. And for me personally, I'm a person that prefers to feel certain and have some stability and some security in my life, as opposed to playing the guessing game. And I felt like with the Airbnb, for a while it did feel like that. I didn't feel like I could definitely depend on a certain amount of money coming through, because of how ad hoc, not even ad hoc, because of how, I don't know, because of how ever-changing the pandemic and the hospitality laws and rules were, and how uncertain everybody was. And you know, 1 minute Jamaica has a curfew, 1 minute it doesn't. So I felt like as a host and as a young entrepreneur, the smartest move for me to make was to definitely convert the Airbnb into a long-term renting space. And I do have tenants, and that's the main reason why you guys haven't been able to book the Airbnb thus far. Quite a few of you guys, my subscribers, which I genuinely love and adore so much. You guys are always so supportive of everything that I venture into. You guys have been asking about booking the Airbnb, and I've just been politely declining the request. That's because I just wasn't able to speak about this journey that I'm on now. But being that I am almost 6 months into it, I'm now ready to speak and share my truth, share my tips, and just a few last words that I'd like to leave with you guys is that, one, the only thing that is promised on this earth is death. So with that being said, just try to expect the unexpected. I know it's so cliche and you've probably heard it a million times, but literally expect the unexpected. And once you do that, you will always position yourself to always have a backup plan, and that's what saved me, the backup plan. If you guys, so that's one thing. And then number two is, don't be afraid of starting over and trying something new. You know, I've learned a lot as an Airbnb host over the past months, and I've also learned even more as a landlord over the past coming months, and both journeys are just as rewarding. But obviously, my main goal and my main plan was to definitely be an Airbnb host long term, just so I could pioneer that field, especially in Jamaica, because you know that's home. Since things have turned around, honestly, I can't even complain for the fact that I'm no longer able to do what I really envisioned for the Airbnb, but instead I have to become a landlord. I can't complain, because at least I still have a house, at least I still have tenants willing to pay the rent, at least I still have a platform where you guys support me, where I was able to find reliable and useful people to help me through the whole process. So in everything, just try to look for the positive, because gratitude really helps you to live a more fulfilling life, and that's what I've been practicing, and that just helps me to get through every kind of storm that weathers my way, because this is life. We're all gonna have thunderstorms. It may not look that way, I may not showcase it, and personally I don't like to showcase my failures or my struggles as I'm going through them, because I do struggle with my anxiety from time to time, and also I don't like being seen as a victim. So I normally like to just speak about what I've been through after the facts have gone, or after I feel like I'm good now, so I can talk about it. Or even if I'm not good, I feel confident enough we can talk about what happened. So yeah, that's the update on the Airbnb. Obviously, I'm not telling you guys this to turn you away from becoming an Airbnb host. I'm literally just sharing the truth, my Airbnb truth so far. We are not financially able to continue as an Airbnb, and I don't feel, like I said, I don't feel safe, I don't feel secure with operating as an Airbnb in these unprecedented times. Instead, I would prefer to find a tenant, which we have, where I know I can have reliable money month in, month out. So yeah, that's all. If you guys do want to find out more about my landlord journey so far, I don't know, I need to find the correct word for that, the woman version of landlord. But If you guys are interested in that, do leave a comment below and I can definitely film that video for you guys. And I will also be making more videos about my Airbnb journey thus far, possibly sharing some tips with you guys, some Airbnb must-have for my future and my potential Airbnb hosts. Again, thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you guys like the hair. I did it myself, well, cut the bang. If you followed me on Instagram, you would see a short little mini video, I don't know, a little something, show you guys how I got the look. So if you would like to see that and be a part of more little fun Instagram stories that I do have going on, be sure to follow me at _JAYXOS. It will be on the screen. And also be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you did enjoy this video, if you did find it useful, please be sure to share the knowledge. Like I said, life not a manual. So if you can help me, help me. If me can help you, me I can help you. Thank you guys so much. Bye.